Joy is our natural state. And yet, if we were to do a poll and check out where everybody is at any particular time of the day, we may not be aware of the joy that is our natural state, because we may not be aware that we're feeling it, or we may not be feeling it at all. But how could it be then our natural state and us not experience it to the fullest or even feel joy-filled most of the time? It's a great question. It's a great question as we maybe review 24 hours from today to the last 24 hours, and then review this 24 hours going forward to see if there's a difference or a change in what we may be experiencing compared to what we set out to experience and to know for ourselves. The key is that if joy is my natural state, what must I be thinking and or believing in order to live from joy, in order to know that this is my natural state? And what does that really mean for joy to be our natural state? Well, in our science of mind philosophy and in our teaching, what we know is that there's one power, one life. It is God, Spirit, a great reality, Mother, Father, God, whatever name we give it, it is. And what we know about this creative intelligence and this power and this presence is that we name it and we give it all of these qualities that it is, things that we can really identify with, meaning harmony, peace, love, joy, abundance, wisdom, infinite intelligence. And because it has created everything out of itself, therefore that which is created has that same essence. So our natural state is joy, since God is joy, and God is living in, through, and as me right now. But it kind of feels a little weird sometimes, because here's a great idea. Here's a great example. For the most part, and this is just kind of really, really basic. For the most part, we're born male and female. And for the most part, those of us who adapt or who really feel matched up with our gender, with our sex, right, male or female, we say, hey, if I'm a female, hey, I'm a woman, this is my natural state. Here's who I am. This is how I express. Same thing for male. You don't even think about it. It just is. You know, you just walk around and live life in that state of beingness. And yet, when I tell you that your natural state is joy, somehow I'll be like, but I haven't been really joy-filled. Like, I'm not really experiencing a whole lot of joy, and if it's my natural state, there must be something wrong with me. What's wrong? What's different? And what I want to encourage us to do is, as we sit in some of the silence that comes from asking the questions, because for me, I love asking the questions because it takes me to the next and the next and the next and the next, which is the evolutionary process of at least my own growth and unfoldment. But then if I am not experiencing joy, which is my natural state, what's that about? And what it has dwindled down to is that somehow or another, I must believe that I am something different than joy, or that joy does not live in, through, and as my very life. I must believe that it is not my natural state, so my experience is something else. Make sense? Okay, because when it gets really quiet, I get a little like, they all still with me? Okay, so from that starting point, if you will, stop it. If you're believing that you're other than joy, or that joy is not your natural state, stop it. Joy is your natural state. Love is your natural state. Peace is your natural state. Abundance is your natural state, because that is the nature of God. God has created everything out of itself. You are this creation that God is. You're the way God shows up on planet Earth. You're the way God shows up. Your natural state is joy. But in fact, what happens as we are expressing in these beautiful divine human bodies, we have this thinking mind, and this thinking mind, sometimes we allow it to get cluttered and muttered and muddled and filled with ideas that don't even make sense. Ideas that are not even the truth of who we are. And then we take those ideas and we believe them. You know, we think them over and over again, because simply a belief is a thought that we think is true. And so now we have all these false beliefs that we're living by. And then somewhere within us, we discover and uncover through our work with a practitioner, or through our work in meditation and in prayer, that we discover that I can only be filled with joy when I have enough money in the bank, or when my family unit is intact, or when I'm driving a nice car, or when I'm retired, or you can add the list and add on to the list, and on and on and on. I'm sure that all of us have a list of things or ideas that we think of when we think of, wow, I will be filled with joy when, versus or compared to the reading, in a sense, and in effect it was saying, look at how joy-filled my life is. I'm pouring a cup of coffee. But some of us might think, well, if it ain't Starbucks coffee, it's not joy. You see what I'm talking about? The subtle differences as to where our expectation places us, and what our beliefs are about the natural state of who and what we are. When we take a look in the Science of Mind book, and we just kind of check out the words of Ernest Holmes, there's something really specific that he talks about in terms of our practice, and in terms of remembering the truth of who we are. Now, Ernest Holmes is or was the kind of guy who always believed that prayer, meditation, our spiritual practice, repeating things like making something a practice was of utmost importance. Because as we begin to undo or unlearn all the stuff that we think is the truth about us, which is really a lie, we need to replace it or exchange it for that which is true. So when he's talking about joy, he says, declare every day that no mistakes have been made. None are being made, and none can be made. Declare there is one supreme intelligence which governs, guides, and guards, tells us what to do, when to act, and how to act. Having done this in perfect faith, act with perfect assurance. Declare further everything necessary to the full and complete expression of the most boundless experience of joy is mine now. So he's telling us, okay, let's get to the place of joy, right? We get to do that by daily declaring, not once, not twice, several times a day, whenever it is that we need to, because sometimes, there's traffic and we go, where's the joy in the traffic? Right? And we have to get ourselves to that place. So he's saying, okay, declare to yourself, no mistakes are made. No mistakes can ever be made. Mistakes cannot be made. There's no mistake. There's no mistake. Everything is in divine order. Everything. And that's what he's trying to tell us. So let's get to that place. And even if we got to take little steps at a time, instead of just like jumping right to the joy and going, hey, boundless joy is mine. And then the mind says, no, it ain't. Lie. Decline. So for those of us who are not there yet, who can make that giant leap, he says, declare there are no mistakes. There are no mistakes. This is not an error. Do not adjust your television screens. This is not a test. This is in divine order. He tells us to go there first, right? Then he says, I know that there's this power and this presence that lives within me that tells me what to say, when to say it, who to say it to. Thus, no mistakes, where to be. I'm simply being obedient to that. That's why we showed up here. We're just simply being obedient. There are no mistakes. So, step one, step two, then he says, declare further. Now that we've gotten there and we've taken these necessary steps, that everything necessary to the full and complete expression of the most boundless, the most is already like all you can get. And then the word boundless, wow, the most boundless experience of joy is mine now. He says, know this, see it, feel it, and be it. Do this every day for a few minutes. We should all do this until the time comes when it is no longer necessary. When that time comes, we will know it because our demonstrations will have been made. See it, feel it, be it. So many times as we've been exploring the idea of imagine this month out of the Science of Mind magazine and the writings in the Science of Mind daily guides. It's been calling us forth to be in this place of imagining, of creation. It is one of the most powerful tools that we have to be able to be wherever it is that we are physically, but then to be transported through our minds into joy, into bliss, into other areas of the world, never mind the world, the universe. I mean, we have been able to use our imagination to create and to be in a place of knowing that all things are possible. And as we use our imagination now, as Ernest Holmes is telling us and giving us the right use of our imagination, he's telling us and inviting us to see it. See boundless, the most boundless experience of joy. See it. Now, he could be literally talking about look outside and see it. But he also could very well, as we're taught, to see it within, to see it with our mind's eye, to believe it, to feel it, and to be it to such a degree that our life begins to demonstrate this joy, that we live like we just have joy dropping out of our pockets. Oops, oh, that's my joy, but you can have it. It's okay. That our whole demonstration of life is joy because that is our natural state. And yet, there's that part of us that kind of butts up against that and says, yeah, but really, can we really be joy-filled all the time? And the answer is yes. It's not mutually exclusive with anything else. I can be sad and still be joy-filled. It's my natural state. I can have challenges and still experience joy. Because joy is our natural state of being. And to the degree in which we embrace and know this truth for ourselves, it is to that degree in which we can be out here with it, that it just exudes. It just like we sweat joy, you know? We live it. It's our life's demonstration. So sometimes, for some of us, it may be really easy to engage in our daily spiritual practices, you know, of affirming, of praying, of meditation, of seeing ourselves in joy, experiencing joy, feeling it, being it, seeing it, and seeing ourselves and picturing ourselves in situations that are filled with joy. And yet for others, sometimes it's a lot easier to have, instead of seeing it from the inside of your body outwards, meaning in here, sometimes it's easy to see the outpicturing of joy as a reminder of the truth of who we are. You know, I've been recently exposed to this this book that we're gonna do in November. It's called The Thought Exchange. And of course, David, the writer, simply speaks to what we see out here is what we believe in here. And that's nothing new. It's what we teach. What we see out here is what we believe in here. So that which I'm believing is simply reflecting back. There's a great quote in the book as I'm preparing for November. I prepare way in advance for y'all. So the sneak preview is that if you have a smudge on your face and you're looking in the mirror, do you wipe the smudge off the mirror? If you do, it ain't gonna work. And you're rubbing the wrong thing. You're trying to wipe off the mirror, which is just a reflection of that which is. And so it is with joy, that the joy out here is really the joy in here, and to the degree in which I recognize the joy here that lives in me, then I can see it and experience it in the outer world. But if I'm trying to tinker and fix the outer world is simply the mirror of who and what it is that I'm believing. So if I'm trying to wipe the smudge off out here, it ain't gonna work, folks. If I'm trying to fix you, it ain't gonna work, because it's not you, you're the reflection of my inner thoughts, desires, of my being, of my belief. And so I must go here. I must, as Ernest Holmes describes to us, go within. I must declare it. I must declare the most boundless experience of joy. I have to recognize and get the dust bunnies and the cobwebs out of the portals of my mind and really recognize that there are no mistakes. What I'm seeing out here is not a mistake, ladies and gentlemen. Do not adjust your screens one more time. It is an outpicturing of what I believe. So I have to tinker here. And the tinkering here is recognizing and surrendering, if you will. Don't fight it. Surrender to it. Surrender to the joy that is our natural state. Surrender to the love that is our natural state. Surrender to the truth that is our natural state. Surrender to it. Stop fighting it. You can't help it. You can't help it that God is expressing as you. You know? God is expressing as you. You can't help that. You know, so when great things are happening, when you're living to your fullest, it's kind of like, I can't help it. That's just God showing up as me. Wow. This joy that I feel is simply the way God shows up as my life, in my life, through my life. I know that sometimes I need a little help in reminding myself of the joy. And just like the reading that Candace read for us, I play around and do stuff like write songs to remind me of the truth of who I am. So in today's daily guide, which is joy, I practice remembering the things that bring me joy, or the things that remind me of the joy that I am, that it's a reflection. And so one of my childhood favorite songs was My Favorite Things. And some of you, you know, as soon as I say it, we'll hear the John Coltrane version, or the Luther Vandross version, or the Julie Andrews version, or for those of you who are a hell of a lot younger, the Glee version. Right? But whatever version you're hearing, I always think of the version in the movie. And what I did was just simply write some words to make it fit the melody. You want to hear it? All right. Don't laugh. You can laugh. Yeah, I'm going to sing it. All right. So it goes, rainbows on pages where nothing is written. Time with a loved one when I feel quite smitten. Walking with Sunny, the fragrance of spring. These are a few of my favorite things. Y'all get it, right? Dun, 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 dun. Cozy socked winters and long puppy kisses. Beautiful weddings for Mr. and Mrs. Oldies but goodies that just make me sing. These are a few of my favorite things. Dun, dun. Y'all can do this too, see? One more verse. Dun, 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 dun. Fresh coffee brewing and white sandy beaches. Smile on young faces or just eating peaches. Shiny gold jewelry surrounded with bling. These are a few of my favorite things. You like that part, huh? Right? Thank you for indulging me. But that's the kind of stuff I'm talking about, right? Like, you know, there's certain tunes that will stick in your head or just kind of lighten your spirit and help you to feel joyful. Go ahead and write some things that remind you of what makes you feel alive. What is a reflection? What's that reflecting back to you that reminds you of the truth of who you are? That joy is within you. So many times we want to focus on where it's missing or where it's lacking. You're not going to solve the problem at the level of the problem. You're not going to find joy by looking at what you don't have. And so many of us have been trained to look for that. I don't have enough money in the bank. I don't have that right person. I'm not driving the right car. I don't have enough clothes. I don't have this. I don't have that. But what are the things, then, that you can look into the world, which is simply the reflection back to you, that you can say, yeah, here, I have a coffee pot and I love coffee and I'm pouring myself a cup of coffee. Like, that's a reflection back of joy, of the simple things that bring us pleasure, that remind us of the joy of who we are. We get to, on a regular basis, as Ernest Holmes talked about, it's simply not just affirm it, because just saying the words without the sensation, without the energy, without that feeling tone, without it really, really making that connection into our physical body and vibration, just saying the words are simply noise in the wind, unless we give it meaning, unless we give it meaning. And so in order to really experience the joy, we get to give it meaning. You know, bad was bad until Michael Jackson made bad be good. And I don't know about you, but the word dope, in some circles meant one thing, and dopey, and, you know, like one of the dwarfs, not the dwarfs, yeah, the 7 dwarfs, yeah, you know? Or nowadays, you know, people, oh, that is so dope. You know, the kids make it like it is the most awesome thing around. And for narcotics, you know, if you say dope, they're like, where, what's up? You know? So, words don't have meaning. We give it meaning. The things in our lives that are reflected back to us, we give that the meaning. We give that the meaning. We put that energetic there. So look into your own lives, into those things that if you didn't have them, you would kind of go, ooh, I missed that. You know, it could be a pair of favorite old socks or some pajamas that just make you feel warm and cozy. Or it could be, you know, a plaque hanging on the wall that reminds you of a joy-filled moment, a photo. But remember that the joy is within. It is our natural state. And simply it is being reflected back to us by our experiences, by our life. And as we look out, we can name, that's joy, 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 joy. Joy. As a reminder back to ourselves that joy is our natural state. And then, when we recognize that there are no mistakes, that everything is unfolding in a divine way, we recognize that even now, I'm being obedient to the dictates of my heart. I'm simply following that which my heart says to do or to say to people, to go, to be, to die, whatever it is. There's no mistake in that. I'm just following it, being with it, and then again declaring that the most boundless experience of joy is mine now. And it's mine now because it is my natural state, because it is our natural state, because right where we are, God is expressing. So we enter our quiet time, where we have an opportunity to simply be in this consciousness, where we get an opportunity to simply anchor in, like kind of like dig in a little bit into these thoughts, these ideas, this knowing that right where we are, God is, and the joy that God is, we are. So as you prepare yourselves and prepare your consciousness right now, I'm going to ask that you clear your laps, just so you have an opportunity to outwardly say, I'm clearing everything away. Yeah. And as we simply begin to turn within, we recognize the one power, the one presence that is God, that is living in, through, and as us, and recognize that the joy that God is, I am. We simply pause and drink that in as if we were thirsty. The joy that God is, I am. I am the joy that God is. The joy that God is, I am. I am the joy that God is. It is my natural state. And whatever sensation or feeling tones or vibration or energetic that may be pushing up against it, don't even sweat it. Just let it be. We can get through that. Because it is our natural state. And it's simply clearing away any ideas, any false beliefs of anything that is unlike this simple truth that joy is my natural state. And so as we just accept that, let's see joy just showering us, surrounding us, coming up through us. Let's see joy in each and every part of our body. And let's just live there, with joy being our natural state. Let's find a joy, or place joy in every organ, every function, in every cell. Let's place joy in every thought. Joy, joy. It's my natural state. The joy that God is, I am. I am the joy that God is. Joy is my natural state. We let it be, even now.